What are your thoughts on the Harris and Trump debate? He will be remembered for the cat and dog comment. That was his standout moment. That was fun and unhinged, but I don't think it's ethical to use the elderly like that for our entertainment. We are all the smoking Ben Affleck meme. His greatest work in my book. I'm a leader and IVF made me laugh out loud. Top takeaways for me, Kamala. I never asked if a victim was a Republican or Democrat. I asked if he was okay. Trump, the leader of the Taliban. His name was Abdul. I showed Abdul a picture of his house. He asked, "Why do you have a picture of my house?" I said, "You know why." So trans immigrants that got surgery in prison are coming to eat my dog and doctors want to kill my baby. You learn something new every day. It's frankly shocking how little effort I've made to avoid this fate, and yet my dogs and babies are still fine. So, do you have a plan? I have a concept of a plan. I'm using this for every answer in my life that requires a yes, no from here on out. I don't have any thoughts about it yet, but I do have a concept of a thought. Trump debate team, stay calm, focused, stay on policy, stay serious, focused. Trump, they're eating dogs. Transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison was really said. I got involved with the Taliban. Is not a quote I would want out there. Kamala came across as much more moderate than I think many would have expected. I think she knows that liberal voters will vote for their cat before they vote Trump, assuming their cat hasn't been eaten, so instead she's speaking towards Republicans who could live with her policies enough that it would be preferable to Trump. Harris argued that Trump could be manipulated by other world leaders and then demonstrated as much by manipulating him into baited attacks all evening long. He was like a cat chasing a laser pointer. Harris, world leaders are laughing at you. Trump, Viktor Orban. The fascist loves me. Orban is honestly the craziest endorsement you could get. Out of the entire world, the world leaders who openly support Trump are Putin and Orban. If I went out on a date and the girl told me over dinner she doesn't have a lot of friends and she really only hangs out with a homeless crackhead and a skinhead, I would leave and block her. The path to winning this debate for Donald Trump was to just play the hits. Every person in America knows everything they could possibly know about him. Run the ball, as you will. Instead, he said Democrats want to legalize infanticide and that immigrants were eating pets. An amazing way to walk right into the weird rake over and over like an Oringer, somehow more bloodthirsty sideshow Bob. I noticed that Trump refused to say that he wanted Ukraine to win the war. The moderator gave him a couple chances to say it and he completely avoided saying it. He would only say that he would end the war. He also refused to answer the questions about January 6th, even going so far as to say I had nothing to do with it. They just asked me to make a speech. For all his lies, Trump is actually telling the truth about babies dying after birth sadly. Kamala straight up killed a baby live on stage 78 years after its birth tonight. My first thought was, man, the memeosphere is going to be hot this week. I was in disbelief the whole time. Trump refuses to establish the bottom of the barrel and instead continues to dig. It's impressive, really. I didn't know a person could actually achieve his level of incompetence, callousness, and narcissism. Harris was poised, composed, dignified, and spoke eloquently. No notes. I think she absolutely clobbered him when he wasn't busy clobbering himself. An interesting but certainly not surprising note is that he would not look at her the entire time. Meanwhile, not only would Harris look at him, but she was speaking directly to him at some points. He's scared, and he should be. I'm annoyed he always seems to get the last word, even when he doesn't have time. I don't understand how anyone can watch Trump talk and not think he's a complete narcissistic, incoherent buffoon. He always talks in ridiculous absolutes. Politics aside, just his character is enough to make you sick. I'm glad that Kamala is trying to focus on the future, and I think this was a slam dunk for her, but it's unsettling the election will likely be so close. Edit. I loved Kamala telling him he got fired by 81 million people. You know, that hit hard. Clearly the US electorate is deeply fucked for this to be an even close race. No politician will say it because it's totally untenable to call out voters for their flaws, but that's the real story here. Allowing Donald Trump to still hang around and even be close in this race is a major embarrassment for the American voters. God help us all. I'm so tired of pretending that being a Trump fan is a valid or respectable position. I don't care if you dislike Harris or are a staunch conservative, but saying you think Trump is a real option to be president automatically disqualifies you from being considered a serious person. That for the first time I'm starting to think Trump might lose. Before Biden stepped out, I was sure it was going to be a rout. After, I knew it'd be close, but was thinking Trump would pull it out. Now, I'm not so sure. He got bodied hard tonight. Not so much on policy, since no one ever actually offers policy in these debates, but just for how unhinged a lot of his comments were and how uncomfortable he was. Harris got under his skin in a major way. My mom, a huge conspiracy theorist, called me up and said, "Wow, Kamala did really well. Whoever prepped her for this should get a huge bonus." That says a lot because before this, she called me nonstop talking crap about her. Fox News plays on repeat at her house. She ended with, "I guess if Kamala wins, I won't feel as bad as I thought I would." I saw a revenge-obsessed madman screaming about immigrants eating people's pets, doctors executing babies after birth, and bragging about being friends with dictators, autocrats. The other person was very poised, intelligent, and seems like they actually care about the American people moving forward. Harris came off as someone who wanted to be there, ready to speak, and knew what buttons to press on Trump. Trump came off as if he was annoyed to be there, kept going off script and getting goaded into his dementia bubble. He came off as some bitter, angry old man who kept confusing the jobs of the president and vice president. Harris did exactly what she needed to. She talked about her policies and attacked Trump to the point where he lost his cool. He didn't get to talk about any plans because of that. You can tell it was bad for Trump because Republicans are attacking moderators for fact-checking, not trying to say Trump did well. Meanwhile, pretty much everyone in the middle and on the left are praising Kamala. Harris owned him. I wish she humiliated him more, but she struck the right balance. I think she may have picked up a state or two. Trump was ridiculous. He looked like he was falling asleep at the start, and then he was making his duck lips face whenever Harris was scoring points on him. When he had the microphone, he was slobbering and babbling about dog eaters and whatnot. He was out of control. His handlers will not be pleased. Trump started off relatively composed, but started to lose it when Harris began triggering him with facts he is unable to accept. He offered nothing of substance, only wild or baseless claims trying to disparage everyone but himself. He referenced Viktor Orban as a character witness, which was a terrible move. He refused to support a Ukrainian victory. He tried to hammer Harris on immigration and the economy, but came off as repetitive and desperate. Again, not offering anything or substance, but using superlatives without support of fact to claim he would be so much better and Harris is so bad. Harris did what she needed to do. She riled up Trump, set up a stark contrast, reminded voters of how chaotic and undemocratic Trump's presidency and loss were. She had actual policy plans. She could speak clearly and factually about not just concepts of a plan. I wasn't terribly impressed by her answers about climate change, though she at least gave an answer, or the Afghanistan withdrawal. She also seemed stronger and more confident than Trump, minus a couple times when she tried talking over Trump, giving him an opportunity to turn it back on her. Overall, Harris won. I think it will influence some undecided voters. I don't think there will be another debate. Thank you for your attention. Like and subscribe to the channel.